special welcome to all the men and women in the armed forces watching from around the world. The chase for the Commander-in-Chief's trophy begins today, Kelly. Navy has been in control in that regard, but with several close calls.
They possessed the trophy 7 times in a row now. Don't get that confused with domination on the field. The game typically goes down to the wire.
The midshipmen bring a media darling with them to this encounter. Quarterback Ricky Dobbs always has a smile on his face for good reason.
Yeah, the table setter for this traditional triple option at Navy does a very good job typically in getting them into the right place. He's a drive finisher. He can throw the football, but today he's going to have to be impeccable in his decision making. The touchdowns a year ago, 27 touchdowns, setting an NCAA quarterback record.
Air Force has a bunch of playmakers in its lineup, but the Falcons betray their nickname. They stay firmly planted on the ground.
They really do, and the triplets. They rush the football all the time. They have 3 ways to do it. Jefferson is the distributor of the ball, 2 is the pounder inside, and then Clark can get it to the edge in a hurry. Yards per carry, touchdowns, and they lead the FBS in rushing yards a game.
There are no secrets between these two academies. Their styles, their schemes are similar. So what's the likely tipping point?
I think Air Force has a distinct advantage in speed. They have to get that speed in space and make plays, and then special teams, Joe. This may come down to field position and a kick. Who makes that kick in the end?
Nervous moments now, all the energy ready to unfold. The midshipmen all set to race into a Service Academy showdown. It's Navy Air Force with kickoff next on Versus. For Navy Air Force on Versus today, Lindsay Soto is at field level, and Lindsay, Air Force has a very special look for this one.
That's right, as we just finished our flyover here, 4 F-15s out of Nellis Air Force Base. That is the same Air Force Base that the Thunderbirds fly out of, and that is who Air Force is recognizing today with their very special helmets that they are debuting, wearing for the first time ever. It is an exact replica of the Thunderbirds helmet. They said they wanted today to acknowledge all of their servicemen all over the world, and thought what better way to do that than by acknowledging the best ambassadors of the Air Force, the Thunderbirds. And of course, their normal jerseys don't exactly go with these helmets, so they changed up the jerseys. They're wearing a shade of navy blue jersey. The backs do not have their names on them. Instead, the even-numbered players, their backs will say freedom. The odd-numbered players, their backs will say service. Guys?
And they're looking good. They are looking real good in a shade of blue, Kelly. They don't want to say that Navy. Maybe midnight blue, but not quite as dark as Chicago Bear blue. Beautiful day for football this afternoon in Colorado Springs. Eric Soderberg ready to hit it. Alexander Teach is deep for Navy. The midshipmen, 15 straight wins in the bank over their fellow service academies. The finest Air Force team they've faced in a few years. We are underway. It's Teach 4 yards deep, and he's not coming out. Midshipmen get it 1st and 10 from their own 20 under the direction of senior quarterback Ricky Dobbs. Few in the nation are going to get more mileage out of their own offense than this guy. Georgia native, leadership skills and rushing touchdown numbers that are simply off the charts. Kelly, the coaches told us sometimes he'll give them a bit of a headache, but it's all worth it.
Yeah, and he's not your prototypical option guy. He's more of kind of a backyard brawler, but he gets it done, obviously.
Options down the line, calls his own number and carves his way close to 8 yards, where he was bumped by Reggie Rembert. Starting lineups, midshipman offensive line usually very much in sync. Watch for Battipaglia and Malloy to be the cornerstones today. Backs and receivers, all busy boys this afternoon. Vince Murray and slot back Gigi Green are attention grabbers. Dobbs and the entire offensive unit checking to the sideline on 2nd and 2. Both of these squads outstanding on the ground, routinely among the national leaders in rushing. Dobbs again for 1st down yardage. where he's planted to the turf as we introduce you to the Air Force defense. The 3-down linemen are a frisky bunch. It'll be easy to find defensive end Rick Rickards, a fiery sort, to say the least. Linebackers get their licks in. Brady Amack, one hit machine who leads the team in tackles. And then there's a lot to like in that secondary. Cornerbacks Reggie Rembert and Anthony Wright are interception thieves in waiting. All Dobbs on the first 2 carries. This Navy team well rested after a bye week and a win the week prior over Louisiana Tech. First back through is the fullback, Vince Murray. Pounds ahead for 4. Ken Niumatalolo's in his 3rd season as the sideline boss for the midshipmen, and he has fared well against the Falcons.
Yeah, he likes this matchup right here. He obviously has a great deal of respect for every player playing in this game, but right now, for whatever reason, he's had Air Force's number.
2nd and 6. Steady dose of option today, steady dose of Dobbs, breaking tackles into Falcon territory. Ricky Dobbs gains 18.
It's a little bit interesting in the triple option. Navy typically will start inside and then expand to the outside. They seem to be getting out to the edge a little bit quicker today, which I think is catching Air Force off guard just a little bit. Typically, it's establish the fullback and then try to get Dobbs to the edge, optioning off to that in man on the line of scrimmage.
You will use the word reads today a lot. Ricky's reads have been very good. He stumbles here, and then the Falcons come a-running. Rick Ricketts tripping him up by the shoelaces.
And Joe, that's the key right there, is both offenses want to stay ahead in the chains. Keep moving the chain, stay ahead and down a distance. And when you get behind the sticks, like right now in 2nd and 11, then you have to kind of come out of your comfort zone if you're the triple option Navy team.
You saw those numbers for Dobbs 2 weekends ago, a career best in terms of passing yardage against Louisiana Tech. He rolls, sets his feet, double pumps, and has plenty of company in the backfield.
This is where I think Air Force has a great advantage. You talked about the experience in the secondary of Air Force. When Navy has to throw the ball, they're going to have a hard time finding voids in the coverage downfield. You can see Dobbs right there simply has nowhere to throw the football, and then it's just pressure. That ball came out a little bit late. Good decision by Dobbs in the end, getting rid of it.
Zach Payne's been very active from his end position. It's 3rd and long for the midshipmen. Mike Stukel abbreviated his motion there as Dobbs will change the play and asks for time. A sellout crowd here at Falcons Stadium. Back-to-back sellouts for home dates for Troy Calhoun's bunch. Navy and Air Force just getting started. It's College Football on Versus, presented by Windows 7.
College Football on Versus is presented by Windows 7.
Play around the world and here in Colorado Springs on a gorgeous afternoon for college football. Navy and Air Force renew acquaintances. This is Navy's first possession of the game. Opening possession. They have taken care of the football for nearly 3 minutes. 3rd down and long on the option pitch to G.G. Green. Darting away from tacklers. He's brought down shy of the Air Force 40. A pickup of 7.
And I think this is going to be an interesting decision early in this game, because they would be kicking a field goal into the wind. It would be a moonshot as a field goal anyway. This might be kind of that tweener area where you may elect to go for it here early. Great decision, big decision early in this game.
Well, I guess if we were talking about Air Force and Ken Niumatalolo's counterpart, Troy Calhoun, he'd say, we're going for it, because the Falcons have done that more than most teams around the nation in the last 2 years.
Yeah, conversely, I think it's a field position game when you play either one of those teams, these teams on the field today. When they're both on the field, field position is going to be paramount.
No gamble yet. Kyle Delahook will punt for Navy. Both of his grandfathers fought in the Korean War. One for the Navy, one for the Army.
Offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still
Delay of game, back him up 5. Anthony Wright poised to take this punt return for the Falcons. Air Force coming in at 3-1. Midshipmen will tell you they're about a foot away from being 3-0. Their mark is 2-1, the lone loss to Maryland in its season opener. Delahook has this one knocked down by the wind. And it tumbles inside the Falcon 10 all the way to the 6. So after a Navy drive sputters, Air Force gets its first call on offense. The junior quarterback is Tim Jefferson, another guy who hails from Georgia. Weeks go by and he shows more and more command of this squadron. His rushing numbers the last 2 weeks have been very strong as you look at his seasonal passing profile. Head coach Troy Calhoun can't say enough good things about this youngster and the way he has led his team.
Yeah, and you haven't even gotten to the pass game yet, Joe, and he brings a lot to the pass game with his Air Force Academy team is concerned as well.
On a toss for Halderman. Exciting wide receiver, dives down, close to the 15.
Kyle Halderman is the ball carrier. Starting
lineup for the Falcons, they love to run. This offensive line's improving rapidly. A.J. Wallerstein getting favorable reviews at right guard. Jared, too, and Asher Clark, as far as the backs and receivers are concerned, all they need is a tiny gap, and they're gone.
And you're actually going to see something different out of Air Force. They do a lot more kind of motions and shifting. It's more of a flex bone like they talked about in studio before the game. It's not your traditional triple option, but they have guys that they can get to the edge, and that's going to be the key to the game. Can Air Force get their speed guys out in space to make plays?
One of the midshipmen still down. Gary.
Where is he? We'll try to take a look and see where that injury occurs. It's very difficult to tell. I think it's Aaron McCauley actually that goes down. Number 29, he's one of those outside linebackers. Remember, Navy didn't bring any of their linebackers back in terms of starters.
Kelly, that's a strong young man, too. He's under 200 pounds listed in the program. He can bench over 400. That's impressive.
That is impressive. 5'10", 194. He's really like a free safety, but he plays outside linebacker. Very strong for his size, plays at a high level, runs extremely well, and against this Air Force option, you have to have guys out on the back end that can run.
He'll be tended to at the sideline. Halderman picked up 9, so it's 2nd and 1 for Jefferson and the Falcons. The fullback, 2, not going very far. Navy defensively, it's a 3-4 formation. The front 3 stirs it up. Jabari Tuani leads the line in big plays and total stops. The linebackers are always fun to watch. McCauley just left injured. Tyler Simmons, they were in the teens in tackles 2 weeks ago. Defensive backfield filled with classy football veterans. The safeties, Merchant and Middleton, have been and still are super. On 3rd and 1. Jared 2, bouncing off of a tackler. 2 on his way to midfield. Ball stripped. It's loose and recovered by the midshipmen. Cornerback Kevin Edwards raced it down, and the mids are thrilled in the stands. After things look rosy for Jared 2 and the Falcons, Edwards comes away with a football.
Well, Jared, too, isn't your prototypical fullback. He has 4.5 speed. When he gets out of there, you can see right there, he bounces off, and then it's ball security down the street. It's not who you see, it's who you don't see. Kevin Edwards does a nice job, number 15 for Navy, chasing down the ball and then the strip. What a big play by Navy, getting that ball back.
With the game so tight between these two through the years, Navy's last 7 victories over Air Force by a total of 36 points. Every turnover is super critical.
Absolutely, and you never know which one is going to come back to haunt you or be that big play we talked about.
Navy asks for time. We'll take it with them. Scoreless in Colorado Springs. Checking in with you, Roland and Glenn, throughout the afternoon. Temple and Army, the Black Knights, off to their best start. since 1996 at 3-1.
Yeah, Troy Calhoun said yesterday this may be the first time in forever that maybe all 3 Service Academy schools can become bowl eligible. That would be tremendous.
After the Jared 2 fumble, the midshipmen have it again. Murray hits the hole quickly and pounds inside of Falcon territory, picking up a first down along the way. Head coach Troy Calhoun was talking to us yesterday, Kelly, and mentioning just how difficult this schedule is for the Falcons. He termed it a 10-game stretch of toughness.
Oh, yeah, and it seems like everybody that Air Force plays is a rival. They're either in close in proximity, the rival in conference, or you're playing a Service Academy school.
Dobbs on a very late pitch. G.G. Green's drilled. On the step-up tackle, it's the safety, John Davis, making the play.
Brought down by John Davis.
And that's something to keep an eye on down the road. John Davis has to fill that alley from the outside, the edge. He'll be coming into the screen right there and putting a hat on the ball carrier. But that's also the guy that Navy will target out of that play-action passing game once Davis gets a little bit too curious at the line of scrimmage.
G.G. Green, a good runner and a good pass catcher. He's a dual threat. Dobbs on a quick throw. Connecting on the outside for Greg Jones. Jones eludes a tackler and is inside the Falcon 20. A pickup of 21 for the 22-year-old senior from San Antonio.
And Greg Jones is their go-to guy in the passing game. Even though Navy doesn't pass the ball a lot, when they need a big play, Greg Jones, number 84, is that guy.
Midshipmen working quickly. Good tempo on offense for them as we near the midway mark of the opening quarter. Alexander Teach straight ahead. Teach, who they say will hit the line faster than Vince Murray, picks up 5.
Yeah, it's almost like a changeup at the fullback position. Teach is more, I think swifter of foot, maybe not as physical as Murray. Murray's an inside game battering ram.
They wouldn't mind getting Teach to the outside on 2nd and 5. Andre Bird and G.G. Green are the slot backs in this true option look under the direction of Ricky Dobbs. Down the line of scrimmage, the pitch for Bird. Bird slashing inside the 5. Wrestling him to the earth was Brady Amack, the #1 tackler for Air Force this season. Bird's going to have to replace a shoe.
And Navy doing a good job of getting outside quickly. It's really just optioning the first guy that Dobbs sees when he clears the line of scrimmage, and then it's a read whether I keep it or whether I pitch it, as he did on that play.
Execution has been excellent for the midshipmen so far. 1st and goal. Looking for the initial points in this Service Academy class. Dobbs on a quarterback keep. And the Falcons are very familiar with that.
And just keep an eye on the matchup. The center in DeMille against Gardner, the nose guard for Air Force. And actually both, regardless of what offense or defense is on the field. That's the key matchup in the offense, because both offenses will try to establish the fullback and then progress to the outside. So who's winning the matchup? Nose guard and center is going to go a long way to dictating who wins this football game.
Navy's red zone efficiency has not been great this fall. 2nd and goal. Dobbs in an immediate bear hug.
And this is where it all happens. The line of scrimmage, you can see right there in the middle of things, 75 DeMille on 86 Gardner. And that time Gardner got a stalemate. On the line of scrimmage, a stalemate, when you can neutralize the other guy, your offense or your defense wins. And then Morris had a chance to come up and clean up that play. But Air Force is going to have to do that all afternoon long.
The linebacker Morris, very familiar with Ricky Dobbs from their days in high school football in Georgia. Vince Murray trapped. The Air Force defense stiffening at the right time. Jordan Waiwaioli, the top 3 tacklers for Air Force on the season, all making their presence felt early in this game. That'll bring on the place kicker for the midshipmen, Joe Buckley, who was last year's hero in the matchup between these two. They'll call this a 23-yard attempt. upright. Amazingly this year, Buckley missed from 32 in the season opener against Maryland. Missed a point after against Louisiana Tech. Both of those, and now this one, all three off the uprights. No score in this one. Buckley with a miss. And we remain scoreless in the Springs. Very easy to tell which way those folks are pulling this afternoon, and trust me, it has been cast and call both sides. There have been dignitaries introduced throughout this stadium all afternoon long. We'll have one of those expected to join us in the second quarter. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Mullen, will be with us as the Falcons control the football. Lindsay Soto sidelines with one of those dignitaries.
Vice Admiral Michael Miller just became the 61st superintendent of the Naval Academy just 2 months ago. What has it meant to you to return to your alma mater in this role?
I'll tell you, it is just so special to come back to where, I learned all of the fundamental lessons in life, and then to get a chance to come back here today and see these young men applying those very same lessons on the field.
2nd and 8 here for Air Force. Jefferson on the pitch. Asher Clark slams it into the secondary, lost his footing near midfield, or else he was gone.
The midline option, trying to establish the fullback and then getting to the edge. This is where I believe Air Force has a distinct advantage. They can get Asher Clark out on the edge along with Warzika. They have an opportunity for some big plays here today.
28-yard pickup would classify as a big play. The junior from Lawrenceville, Georgia, Asher Clark, doing his best to extend a lot of his carries in the last few weeks. Jefferson calls his own number. Jefferson, who's been near 100 yards each of the last 2 weeks, is on his way to the house. Tim Jefferson, touchdown Falcons, a 50-yard dash.
Joe, we talked about the triplets at the top, and Tim Jefferson is one of those triplets. We've seen Asher on the play before, and we've already seen Jared too. That's the speed that Air Force has the ability to take advantage of here today.
Eric Soderberg rams the extra point through. It's 7-0 Falcons.
This is just a speed option, trying to get to the corner as quick as possible, and basically Jefferson doesn't have anybody to option at the corner, and then it's just speed to the house, and Navy kind of shaky on tackling. Right now, you can see the big play ability that the Falcons have.
That would be the midshipman's lament, Kelly, wouldn't it, on that play? Some shaky tackling.
Yep.
Everybody points to execution and fundamentals in these service academy clashes.
Yes, how many times, Joe, did we hear out of the coaches, keep your eyes right, take care of your assignment in a disciplined way, run to the football, but the end, you have to tackle well. They didn't tackle well on that play.
7 points on the board in the first battery of push-ups for the freshman cadets in the end zone. Jefferson on the phone talking about it, a 3-play, 80-yard drive capped off by his 50-yard sprint in just over a minute.
What does the coach say in a situation like that on the phone? Just, good job, go get him?
Keep it up.
Kind of a short conversation.
Bo Snelson, Alexander Teach back deep. The early celebrations belonging to the homestanding Falcons, who have been very good in Colorado Springs under the direction of Troy Calhoun. 16-4 good.
Wow, that's not bad. And you've already seen the mishaps by Navy down in the red zone. They haven't been efficient finishing drives, and they come back and have a great drive into the red zone and come away with nothing.
Soderberg will tee it up. He'll have the wind at his back. The fullback turned kickoff return man, Alexander Teach, stands deep. He had an ankle injury last year in the game in Annapolis against the Falcons. That opened the door for Vince Murray. Teach from inside the end zone, snaking his way across the 25 for the midshipmen. Let's take a look at how the Falcons did it. Driving down the field with a Toyota Drive summary.
Well, you talk about quality, reliability, and durability. You can see right here that Jefferson is the table setter. He has to make good decisions inside and then get their speed to the outside. We saw Asher Clark on the play before, and then Jefferson. He's not real flashy when he carries the ball, but he's physical, and he knows what to do with it.
Back to the live action we go. Falcons with a defensive stop.
Vince Murray, the ball
Once
carrier.
again, Air Force's scoring drive took just 65 seconds. And the Falcons, who lead the nation in rushing, as you can see at the top of your screen, already over 130 rushing. Dobbs looking to answer for the Mids on 2nd and 10.
No, Dobbs doing a lot of checking to the line of scrimmage after the defense is lined up. The coach calls a play, and then he steps up to the line and just basically runs what he's been told.
Kelly, they get to the line of scrimmage so quickly. They have all day to decide what they're going to do. Dobbs wants to throw. Has plenty of time. Launching this one deep down the sideline and intercepted. John Davis picks it off, the reigning Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Week with the INT.
I believe it was Reggie Rempert on the original coverage doing a nice job of basically just watching the ball in the air and then just making a play on it. This is where I think Air Force is going to make it very difficult for Navy. When Navy wants to throw the ball, Air Force is very gifted on the back end.
Kelly, your opinion to throw so deep into a stiff breeze. That's what Dobbs was facing there.
Great point, because Ricky Dobbs is accurate, but he doesn't have a tremendously strong arm. And Joe, you're absolutely right. That ball died in the end.
1st and 10 for the Falcons. Trying the inside. Not much ground gain there by Asher Clark. Here's Lindsey Soto again.
Vice Admiral, we are seeing so many emotions here on the field today. Can you try and put in perspective what this game means, not just for the men on the field, the men and women at the academy, but the men and women of the Navy in general?
Well, you know, I think it's kind of like a brand. They wear the Navy brand, and it represents folks that are right now standing watch in the Arabian Gulf, people that are sailing the 7 seas. But it's also, I think, a larger piece of it is representative of commitment to the national security, and it's true for both teams, quite frankly.
You've been getting a lot of phone calls from people in Washington.
Well, no, there's never any undue influence here, but there's a few suggestions that maybe we want to make sure we win this game.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. It's great being with you, Lindsey. Thank you very much.
Joe.
Lindsey, thank you. Superintendent, we appreciate it. I'm sure the bragging rights are on the line, both here in Colorado Springs and around the world. Shane Bothell, the nose tackle, plays a critical part in Navy's defense, slow to get back to his feet. Time for us to send you back to College Football Central. Let's visit with Kevin Frazier.
Hey, Joe, Big Ten opener for both Illinois and second-ranked Ohio State, and this seals the deal right here. Daniel Herron, 7 yards. He had 95 yards on the day. Terrell Pryor, 11 carries, 104 yards. That's your Foster's game break. Let's get it back to Joe.
Illinois, 8 straight losses to Ohio State at home to the Bucs. They haven't beaten the Bucs at home since '91 in Champaign. This is 3rd and 4 for the Air Force Falcons. Unusual uniform for them. We've touched on it at the top of the telecast as Warzika picks up the first down yardage. Jonathan Warzika, another dangerous threat once he gets to the outside.
A quick pitch to the outside, just trying to get speed to the edge, but the block that was key was Asher Clark out on the edge. Navy did a good job of getting across the line of scrimmage, but Clark sealed the edge, and the runner was able to get up inside.
Substitution, breaking the huddle with more than 11 men. Number 74, offense. That's a 5-yard penalty.
The officials today are from the ACC. Our referee, Mike for sound, Ron Cherry.
When he called 74 on offense, Chase Darden, the right tackle, and I don't exactly know what he was doing, thinking he was part of any substitution plan.
Back to Falcons up 5 with time wasted in the opening quarter. Jefferson on a quarterback draw. Tripped up. Shane Bothell had him around the ankle.
Shane Bothell back in there, and we talked about him at the top. He's an undersized nose guard, but basically all the defensive linemen for the academy schools are undersized, but he has to do a good job of taking away the first established runner of Air Force, and that's Jared too. If you can take away the fullback, then you can kind of tip the field and force things to the edge and regulate that better if you can take away step number 1 to begin with.
3rd and 11 now for Air Force. Out of the eye. Option pitch. Clark into the waiting arms there. Lacey Mitchell from his corner position supporting the run.
Now, Joe, this is where I think Air Force has an advantage with Jefferson throwing the football. We haven't really seen him do a lot in the passing game thus far, but when they have to throw it in 3rd and long, he's not your prototypical option guy. He has a strong arm, and he can throw it into tight places.
It is 3rd down. Let's call it 9. Jefferson fires. Complete. Over the middle to his tight end, Chaz Demarath. Forward progress stopped with the whistles there. Cadets appreciate it as we are nearing the end of this opening quarter. Demarath had a career best 2 catches last week in a conference win in Laramie against Wyoming. 15 minutes complete. Falcons leading the midshipmen 7-0. It's college football on Versus, presented by Windows 7.
About service academy games, for the amount of respect that's involved, the quality of the young men that are the participants, and ultimately to think of what those young men are going to do when it's time to defend and fight for our country.
Kelly, you can't help but be overcome with emotion when you hear coaches Calhoun and Niamatololo, their staffs, all these kids talking about the importance of this game here and now and the job that they all will have to do in the future to protect our nation.
Oh, it's incredible. And if you have kind of a list of things that you want to get accomplished in your life, come to a game like this and experience the atmosphere. It's incredible.
1st and 10. First back through is the fullback Jared 2. Had a big game against Wyoming last weekend, 136 yards, rushing a season high. The Air Force got 2 scores in the 4th quarter to salt that one away.
Yeah, and I think they came out of the Oklahoma game kind of beat up, and I think they just needed to get through Wyoming, looking ahead to what they're facing right now.
From the eye on 2nd and 6. Jefferson off the play action. Protection breaking down, and he launches himself forward. Jabari Tuwani was causing a commotion in the backfield for Navy, and he can do that. He's their most productive D lineman.
Air Force kind of going change of pace right here and trying to get that momentum back. They had it going, get up to the line of scrimmage, get it called, and get after it.
Wearing the Thunderbird uniforms today. Different helmets, different jersey tops and markings and trimmings. Trying to turn the tide, no pun intended, against Navy, which has beaten them 7 straight times. Option pitch juggled a bit by Asher Clark as he's brought down to the turf. Linebacker, 21-year-old junior Max Blue made the play for the Mids.
And Navy doing a better job on this drive, Joe, of getting off of blocks and running to the football. They haven't done that in the last couple of drives where Air Force has kind of had their way in big plays in particular.
On 4th and 5, Keel Bartholomew comes off the Air Force bench, averaging just less than 42 yards per boot. This one towering into the wind. Has some forward spin on it, where it's down at the 14. Just shy of the 2-minute mark in quarter 2. Falcons in front, thanks to quarterback Tim Jefferson on Versus. Here's over at Navy on Versus. We are in great company today in the stands and definitely in this booth. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Mike Mullen, joins us. Now, the Admiral gives it away. You're a Navy guy, but you have to be right down the middle with your rooting options today. How difficult is that for you?
Well, it is tough, but it's such a great venue and two great teams, two great institutions, so it's pretty easy to come and cheer for both sides.
We're glad you're visiting with us. We hope you'll stay for a little bit, watch a few series as they unfold between these two great teams.
Well, we're going to do that. Again, they are terrific teams, and it's great to be with you.
Ricky Dobbs running the option on another quarterback keep. It's been a steady diet of Dobbs in this opening half, as the midshipmen look to answer the Tim Jefferson 50-yard sprint. Matt Malloy was injured the last couple of games, had a concussion. Big fella who mans the right tackle position, down in a heap now for Navy.
Yeah, and that does not look good at this point in time. It's hard to tell what happened, but you're right. He kind of is his own worst enemy at times because he doesn't know how to play, Joe, in any other way except to get after people, and hopefully he can get up and get it going here. I believe he's down in this area right here, but you can...
He's the opposite side, Kelly.
Actually, he's the opposite
on the left.
tackle right there. He goes down, and I think he gets a knee right on the helmet. It looks like to me, number 70, Matt Malloy, coming off this side. You can see it right there. He throws at the linebacker, trying to get him to the ground, and I think he gets a knee right on top of the head.
Boy, no need for us to speculate, but Malloy injured against Maryland in the season opener. A concussion. Missed the last two ball games. He was not going to miss this one. And being tended to by the midshipman medical staff. Joe Beninati, Kelly Stauffer with you. We're joined in the booth by the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Admiral Mike Mullen is with us as the midshipmen continue to hope for the return of Matt Malloy. We'll step away, continue with more in the second quarter, right after these words.
Coming up on the Geico Halftime Show, I'll be joined by Roland Williams and Glenn Parker, and we, of course, will break down all the action from the first half. Plus, we'll take a closer look at tonight's huge Pac-10 matchup between Oregon and Stanford. Should be a good game, but right now, guys, back to you.
Yeah, Kevin, we're looking forward to that one. Stanford and Oregon. Stanford's trying to make a point. The last 4 times they played in Eugene, Oregon has drilled them, Kelly, by 27 points on average.
There'll be some points scored in that game. There's no question about it.
We'll keep our fingers crossed for the return of Matt Malloy, 22-year-old senior, Maryland native, just returning to the lineup today as the Mids go back to their option game. It's G.G. Green darting near the 30, where he is wrapped up and brought down to the turf.
Admiral Mullen, they talk about football teaching life lessons. There's a lot of officers out here on the field today. What lessons can they learn in this game that they can apply down the road in their duties to this country?
Well, I think over the time that they're on the team, they learn to be great leaders, and they're also great teammates. And I think it's the team approach which is so important that they learn here on the field almost better than anywhere else you can learn it.
Air Force averaging close to 12 yards a pop. Leading by 7, midshipmen of Navy in the white jerseys, staying on the ground with Alexander Teach. Admiral, during the week leading up to this game, coaches Niamata-Lolo and Calhoun were telling us about all the emails, all the well wishes they were getting from at home and around the world. Yeah. Can you give us a sense for maybe how the Pentagon might be looking at this one? How closely might they be paying attention?
Well, it's not just the Pentagon, it's the armed forces all over the world. Certainly these are 2 great teams and 2 great rivals, and we all pay a lot of attention to it no matter where we are.
On 2nd and 7. G.G. Green quickly brought down by Jordan Waiwaiole. He's getting back to being a more violent hitter, Kelly.
I think Air Force doing a nice job of occupying the line of scrimmage and allowing the linebackers from Air Force to flow outside to get to Green. I know your duties have you traveling all over the world. How does the kind of the pomp and pageantry of an event like this compare to some of the other things that you have to experience?
Well, I'm out in the field with the troops in Afghanistan on the front lines a lot, and certainly as I think about these young cadets and midshipmen, many of them will be there in the not too distant future. So I'm mindful of that.
3rd and 7, the pitch to the fullback, Vince Murray protecting the football. He launches himself out for first down yardage close to the 45-yard line. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Mike Mullen, is joining us in the booth on Versus today. Admiral, I know time flies for all of us. Things change. What do you foresee in the future for these young men in the armed forces and how they'll have to adapt in the future?
Well, I think that's probably the key. They will have to adapt. It's a changing world, lots of challenges. We're greatly dependent on what they learn here and what they'll become, and we're very confident in all that. The world's changed a lot in the last decade, and in time of their careers, it will change dramatically as well. So we look forward to having them out in the Air Force, in the Navy, in the Marine Corps, and they will make a big difference.
7-0 if you're just tuning in. Nearing the 5-minute mark of the second quarter. Air Force on the board thanks to a 50-yard sprint from their quarterback, Tim Jefferson. Ricky Dobbs on the play action. Launching this one down the sideline, in and out of the hands of Reggie Rembert, incomplete.
You can see Navy's trying to expand not only to the outside, but they're also expanding in the passing game. And the receiver actually comes out of the wingback position, tries to get up the field, but you're not going to get that over the experienced secondary from Air Force. And Air Force can get pressure out of that 3-4 alignment. They generally rush 6, and a lot of times they get pressure on the passer.
That was Rick Ricketts there. He always plays at full tilt. 3rd and 10 for the Mids. Dobbs with all day. Sprints out, floats this one and connects. G.G. Green inside Falcon territory.
Admiral Mullen, when kids are, young people are making a decision to go to college and they're actually considering an academy, what advice would you have for them to determine whether this lifestyle is actually for their future?
Well, a lot of them, I talked to a bunch of cadets today and asked them why they came here, and a lot of them have the family background, either parents or grandparents, so they're inclined. We have many young men and women serving today who have it in their family background. That's a big part of it, but they know about the institutions, they know about the education, they know about the leadership opportunities. Every single one I talked to today was really excited about being here.
This is 2nd and 6. Midshipman working deep in Air Force territory. Well-timed pitch here. Stuckel, the former quarterback, brought down to the turf. Admiral Mullen, we really appreciate your insight. We thank you for all you do for our nation, and we wish you well and safe travels.
Thanks. It's great to be with both of you.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Mike Mullen, spending some time with us. Service Academy clash, Air Force and Navy today in Colorado Springs.
Red ball, personal foul. Number 8, defense. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic, first down.
You can hear from referee Cherry's mic that the wind is picking up at field level. And it's at the back of Troy Calhoun's adversaries from Annapolis.
And Reggie Rembert actually gets called for that unsportsmanlike at the play. You can see the extracurricular and you can see the kick. He's actually very fortunate that he didn't get thrown out of the game for that. It wasn't much, but it was enough to sometimes get players thrown out of games.
Murray then stacked up as we reach the 6-minute mark of the second quarter. Two teams prolific on the ground. Ricky Dobbs, who says his goal is to brighten someone else's day every day. His personality is magnetic when you meet him.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, charismatic to say the least, and I think still trying to run for president in 2040.
Well, he'll be 52 in 2040. I won't do the math for you and me. But you told him yesterday he'd get your vote.
Hey, yeah, if I'm still around, what I meant seen out of that young guy yesterday, absolutely.
3rd down and long, facing Dobbs and the midshipmen now.
And 3rd and long is typically Greg Jones territory. He's split low to the left at this point in time, but when they need a big play in the passing game, number 84 typically is the guy that they like to go to.
3rd and 9 unfolds. Dobbs turning it back inside, and he's crunched. Waioli put a helmet on him.
And you wonder why, if you're watching at home, why they would run the option on 3rd and 9, but that's what they do. I mean, it doesn't really matter the down and distance. The option can actually gash a defense and get big yards as well, so they don't abandon that just because they're behind in the chains.
Buckley had a 21-yard field goal attempt in the first quarter, ring off the uprights. This one from 25. On the way, and just fine. Navy on the board.
Buckley's kick is good.
The senior from Downingtown, PA, getting Ken Niumatalolo and friends on the score sheet. 7-3 Air Force. Temperatures in the 60s, just beautiful for the sold-out crowd at Falcon Stadium. Air Force on top of Navy 7-3 and trying to break Navy's stranglehold on the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. It won't be awarded today, but this is the first leg of that round robin between Navy, Air Force, and Army.
Cody Getz and number 15.
And most people believe that these are the two teams to beat in that round robin, but like you pointed out earlier in this show, Army is getting some things done this year, so I would not look past them, and neither one of these academies will do that.
Head coach Rich Ellerson up at West Point doing a fine job. Ready for the resumption of play in this second quarter. John Teague will hit it. Wind at his back over the head of Warzika. 1st and 10 Air Force from its 20. Folks, next Saturday, college football continues. It's the first Pac-10 matchup of the season. Mike Stoops leads his Wildcats. They try to halt the charge of the Rogers brothers at Arizona Stadium. It's Oregon State and number 14 Arizona next Saturday, 7 Eastern on Versus.
Is this the year that Mike Stoops' team can really make a run for that Pac-10 title? And Mike Riley at Oregon State, you talk about a brutal start to the season in terms of the schedule, but look for that team to play well down the stretch.
Falcons in the Thunderbird uniforms today. Darker blue than normal. Jefferson trying to hide down the line of scrimmage. Billy Yarbrough put the clamps on him. 22-year-old senior from South Carolina. Navy, with respect to the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, has been dominant with some close calls.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They found a way to make 1 or 2 more plays and won 7 of these trophies in a row. But before that, Air Force had gone 13 out of 14 years. So it's really a matter of streaks and who makes the play in the end.
Kyle Halderman around the end. Ran out of real estate. Max Blue was there with Kevin Edwards. Halderman had a 15-yard TD run against Oklahoma a couple weeks back when the Falcons gave the Sooners a scare.
They really did, and we watched the Falcons against BYU right here earlier in the season, and what you see out of the Falcons is everybody who touched the ball last year for Air Force is back, and you see that speed and execution out on the edge in particular.
3rd and 6, Jefferson will throw. Zips it underneath. Warzika breaks a tackle. Jonathan Warzika sidesteps Edwards and is into midshipman territory.
And this is what I think Air Force does now with Tim Jefferson that they haven't done in the past. Really, it's a 2-man route with Warzika is going to be the underneath route runner off the play action pass. Warzika's just going to set down inside, doing a nice job of feeling the softness, catching the football, and then it's the yards after the catch for the first down.
Asher Clark with the football for the Falcons. Hit first by Billy Yarbrough.
Clark on the ensuing play. Asher Clark, Jonathan Warzika, Kyle Halderman, more and more. Troy Calhoun, Clay Hendricks, their offense coordinator. They say they're dangerous and they have more depth than ever.
Absolutely, and we're not even counting Kevin Fogler, who's their big-bodied go-to receiver who's out because of a knee injury, so they have the firepower to score points.
Sprained PCL ligament as they do the reverse for Halderman, and Navy had that diagnosed very well. First man waiting was the linebacker Hallberger, who lost his lid in the process.
And I don't think those misdirection plays or trick plays really work well against the academy schools because they're so disciplined in their alignment and their assignment, and they keep their eyes right. That misdirection is for more out of the control type of defense.
When you get some time, I want you to explain that expression, keep your eyes right, as Jefferson fires in and out of the hands of Warzika, and it ricocheted away from a Navy defender just the same, Aaron McCauley.
Warzika was open, and Jefferson just needs to put the ball on him, just kind of a quick slant. But keeping your eyes right, defensive football is all about alignment and assignment. Every defender has something that they should be reading in terms of keeping their eyes on their keys in order to execute. And then you can free up after you've already cleared your assignment. So keeping your eyes right is paramount, especially against these two offenses here today.
4th and 9 there, and Tim Jefferson wasn't trotting off the field, so Navy has asked for the timeout.
Yeah. Troy Calhoun once again saying, why not?
Troy Calhoun not afraid to go for it on 4th down.
I think last week against Wyoming, it was 4th and 7 from right around midfield, and they went forward and picked it up with the run, I believe, by Warzika, got 8 yards. So he just feels like that has to be kind of their style. They go for it on 4th, and defense also blitzes. They continue to do that.
7-3 Falcons. Here's Kevin Frazier at College Football Central.
Check out the Foster's game break in Temple and Army, and this was the move that sealed it. Matt Brown, 4 rushing touchdowns on the day. That ended the game, and Temple now 4-1 for the first time since '79. Joe?
Well, Temple gave the Penn State Nittany Lions a scare last week, as this one was bounded into the end zone. Did they keep it alive?
No, it penetrated, and the receiver couldn't keep it out.
It's a touchback, and it will be a midshipman ball. Ken Niumatalolo's had some very interesting flight experiences, hasn't he, Lindsay?
Yeah, Joe, one of the perks of coaching at the Naval Academy, the opportunity to ride with the Blue Angels. Although, as Coach Niumatalolo found out last May, they are not for the faint of heart. And we will show you that video that we have of him in the plane after this play.
Dobbs will pitch it, Bird will carry it, and Bird with a big gain for Navy. Ken Niumatalolo taking a ride with the Blue Angels.
Guys, Coach a little lightheaded there at the end of one of the breaks. Coach says his kids still give him a hard time about it. He maintains he didn't pass out. From the video, it really looks like he did. They pulled 7.3 Gs on that break. Coach says he had no idea what he was getting into when he went up with the Blue Angels.
Lindsay, he said he loves roller coasters. It's just going to be like a roller coaster ride. Not quite.
That was no roller coaster.
How about the takeoff? See how fast they got it to the clouds?
Forget it.
No, thank you.
I mean, his head was instantly pinned back to the seat.
7-3, Air Force has the lead. Coach Niumatalolo leading Navy to a bowl game, back-to-back seasons. He's been in Annapolis for quite some time with different coaching staffs. This is 3rd and 8. Straight up the gut. Not a lot of running room there.
Alexander.
3.5 minutes away from our Geico halftime show. Kevin Frazier, Roland Williams, and Glenn Parker back at College Football Central. We'll be breaking down our game. Looking forward to some of the other top-notch games from around the country this football Saturday. On 4th and 4, Navy will send in the punter. Delahook to boot it with Anthony Wright back deep. This one lined right to right from the 11, and he is undercut in a hurry. Fine play by Navy's special teams. This season, Versus.com is your home for college football. Log on, select the winners of all the key games in the college pick'em. See how you stack up against studio analyst Roland Williams. You can get completely connected with the Versus College Football app for your iPhone or Android. Track live game score stats, even video updates. Versus.com, it's your home for college football. And we're steering you there today to Versus.com. We're having a live chat throughout this football game, so weigh in with us at Versus.com. Navy doubling up Air Force when it comes to first downs. 2 has a first down for the Falcons. McCauley riding him to the turf. A pickup of 14.
Jared 2 once again from that fullback, kind of a midline option. Give it to Jared 2, but he's really a hybrid fullback. He has 4.5 speed. We've already seen that breakaway speed out on green grass once already today, Joe.
He only gets better, Kelly, as the game goes along. Deeper and deeper into the contest. His understudy is Nathan Walker, pounding it ahead, another fullback dive. Walker has 3 touchdowns this year, 39 in the blue.
And you would expect Air Force right now to kind of go hurry up. One of the things that Troy Calhoun from Air Force told us is that this new offense that they run, they can get their quarterback in shotgun and throw the ball for this very reason, take advantage of 2-minute situations.
They fake the toss. Jefferson flushed out, finds Clark. Right into the arms of Quasi Mitchell.
Air Force has 3 timeouts left. I would expect him to burn one right here.
3rd down 6.
Once again, a reminder about the Geico halftime show to come. Kevin, Roland, and Glenn just warming up back at College Football Central. If you're just tuning in with us, Buckley on the board with a field goal for Navy, the last strike. Jefferson, 7 there in the blue, a 50-yard dash for a touchdown for the Falcons. Late in the second quarter, and out of the gun. Quarterback draw. Jefferson, who's never had a 100-yard rushing game, he had 99 against UNLV a couple of years ago, is going to be closer, even over that today.
I think that was a pretty conservative drive, and actually I think clock mismanagement. You had all 3 timeouts. You play in an offense where you think you can get your quarterback in the shotgun and take advantage, or better take advantage of 2-minute situations, and they just really, Air Force looked to do nothing with the ball on that drive.
A season ago, the Falcons went for it on 4th down a nation-leading 38 times.
I would not expect
this deep in their own territory. I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, don't give Navy anything here before the half that they really haven't earned.
Coach Calhoun, though, says, you know, at the academies, we have to be different. It's got to be something unique. If we can convert on those 4th down situations, you gain momentum.
Absolutely, and I like playing that way, but I really question what Air Force was doing right there. They had 3 timeouts. They had over 2.5 minutes, and one of the things that Coach Troy Calhoun told us is that they're running a scheme now that they can take advantage of that. They didn't take advantage of it right there.
Kelly Versus gets back to the gridiron for the 2010 UFL action. Saturday, 3 Eastern, Florida. The Tuskers taking on the Hartford Colonials. UFL's back, and it's only on Versus. Dig the unis. Troy Calhoun's squad 3-1 out of the Mountain West Conference. Playing here at Falcon Stadium. Capacity is 46,000 and change. It's a sold-out house today whenever Navy comes to town. Time to punt. It's Keel Bartholomew with Navy's Gary Myers back deep into the wind. Myers runs up, asks for the fair catch, and on bended knee makes the play.
Fair catch by Gary Myers.
Gary Myers, a terrific athlete, all the potential. The coaching staff will tell you all he needs is a little injection of confidence.
That works well at that position, I know that, and he would be a playmaker that I think Navy needs. Greg Jones is a guy, but if they could get Gary Meyer stoked up a little bit and give him another playmaker, they could sorely use that out of that triple option offense.
22 seconds with which to work for Ricky Dobbs and the Mids. fullback to the interior, Vince Murray, brought down after a gain of 2.
Vince Murray, the ball carrier.
Murray hoping for maritime air to be his service assignment. The mids will find out what they're going to be doing in the future. Those who are graduating from the academy, those service assignments come down in November. These two teams making their way to their respective dressing rooms. Ricky Dobbs and the midshipmen tangling with the Falcons of Air Force, trying to keep over a stranglehold against Air Force. They've beaten them 7 straight, but it's the Falcons on home turf with a lead at the break. Lindsay Soto at field level. She's got Troy Calhoun.
Coach, you told us yesterday it takes special plays to win a special game like this. Are you seeing those special plays from your team so far?
Well, you know, sometimes those special plays aren't necessarily big yardage plays or minus yardage tackles. It's being disciplined, and we'll have to do that in the second half. I'll tell you, I mean, it's exactly, I think, what we thought it was going to be. Hard fought. I mean, both teams playing their hearts out. We just do have to make a few plays in the second half.
And you know, it will continue to be hard fought. These games are always close. What is your primary message to the team here at the break?
Just go make a couple more plays, and we've had an opportunity. You know, the thing we've done, I mean, being able to get the touchdown and then being able to keep them out of the end zone, I mean, that's something we'll have to do in the second half too.
Good luck, Coach.
Thanks.
Guys, one stat playing in Air Force's favor. They've outscored their last 5 opponents at home 114-14 in the second half.
Yeah, they've been good. Entertaining today. All the
Going to be Hughes' opening kickoff.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
And that's the adjective most often used, finishing ability for this team with respect to its option success.
Yeah, and they certainly, Joe, didn't do that in the first half, and in the red zone they haven't really been successful on the year. So finished drives, and the first drive of the second half, the first time you possess the football, you have to do something with it. So Air Force needs to do something right here to set the tone, getting out on the edge with their speed guys in space.
That's Kelly Stoffer. I'm Joe Beninati. We are underway in the second half in Colorado Springs. Teague's kick goes soaring through the end zone. 7-3 for the Falcons. Windows 7 halftime stats read out like this.
Yeah, it really isn't unlike we expected. You can see right there the yards per play. There have been some big plays, but neither team has really taken advantage of them other than that big run by Tim Jefferson.
Special welcome to all the men and women around the world in uniform, part of our armed forces, enjoying the football festivities today. Air Force and Navy beginning the contest for the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. We're so glad to have you on board and give you a little bit of entertainment, distract you a little bit. Falcons started with Jared 2 straight ahead. Second team All Mountain West Conference last year was 2. Quarterbacks in this one, 2 friends from Georgia, Dobbs and Jefferson, in their first half numbers.
Yeah, the pass yards are very similar. I think Jefferson has been a little more successful. Ricky Dobbs actually missed a couple of open receivers, and then obviously he threw that one pick.
Second down here for the Falcons. 2 breaks loose. 2 near the 40. Jared 2 starting to pick up momentum.
And this is the belly G, and it's actually just a reverse out by the quarterback, and it's a design give to Jared 2 to get him lathered up and get him going early in this second half. Air Force's offense expands from inside and then goes outside. The aiming points the left tackle's backside, and 2 does a nice job of getting up inside with that good speed of his.
Jared 2 looking for another 100-yard day. He's got 5 career 100-yard rushing games. Shane Bothell making his wobbly way to the sideline. So many of the players in this game, as you would imagine, Kelly, with military backgrounds in their family. Bothell is most definitely one of those with respect to his dad, who served in the Air Force for a long time, 25 years.
Who do you suppose Dad is rooting for today?
Got to be torn a little bit.
Maybe not that much, actually.
Maybe not that much. Jefferson sprints down the line. This ball's on the turf. Quincy Mitchell had it for a second. Navy says they've got it, and they do. The officials from the ACC giving the ball to the midshipman. Aaron McCauley, who is Dinged up in the first quarter today, helping Kwesi Mitchell on the outside after this ball's on the turf.
And the longer the option gets strung outside to the sideline, you lose that mesh with your pitch guy, and that's what you see right there with Jefferson and Asher Clark on that play. Clark was almost in front of the pitch, and he was too close, and the pitch ended up on the backside pads.
McCauley so consistent this year. G.G. Green, one of the slot backs, takes the pitch, nosing towards the Air Force 30.
G.G. Green, the ball carrier.
And that's an adjustment I would expect Navy to make in this second half. Get your playmakers the ball, and with Navy, that's either Dobbs or it's G.G. Green. We saw him a little in the first half. We need to see more here in the second half.
2nd and 6, he's the motion man. Fans just tuning in have to be wondering, what in the world is Air Force wearing today? A Thunderbird tribute helmet and uniform. The aerobatic squadron for the Air Force, the Thunderbirds. Falcon D tightening up in the middle.
Prince Murray is the ball carrier for Navy.
Kelly, you've mentioned it a time or two today. These two teams sort of run their offense almost like they're looking in the mirror at one another, so they should be clued in defensively.
Yeah, who better to stop the option than a defense that faces the option in practice almost every day, and that's what you see out of this game thus far. They essentially neutralize each other. They make great adjustments because they've seen this offensive scheme day after day.
Mids trying to convert on an early turnover in the second half. Dobbs will throw. Makes the connection in the flat there. Green on the turf as he made the catch. It's a first down pickup for Navy.
And if that throw is up by Ricky Dobbs, that's a touchdown to G.G. Green, and he just snuck across the formation from the play side fake to the backside, and Dobbs puts that ball on him. G.G. Green runs into the end zone.
Slot backs for Navy aren't all that big. G.G. Green's 5'8", 180, but the coaches say he has big hands. He loves to catch the football. He's very good at it. 1st and 10 for Dobbs and the midshipmen. It's Teach busting a tackle, dragged down by Reggie Rembert.
The Air Force couldn't quite hang on inside, Joe, and Navy's going to run that fullback too, and Murray's really the inside run game guy, and Teach is more of the outside speed guy, but he did a nice job of shaking loose and getting positive yards up inside that play.
2nd and short here. Blitz coming from the Falcons. Dobbs on the option. Dobbs towards the end zone. Hammered there. Stretching the football out. No signal yet. With a flag down on the play. They mark Dobbs at the 1, but it's coming back. Ken Niumatalolo told Lindsey Soto the first sequence, the first series of the second half would be important.
75, offense, 10 yards, we'll replay second down.
Brady DeMille in that battle with nose guard Ryan Gardner. Right in the middle right here is the one that's going to get called for the hold. You can see the arm starts up on the back and then slides up literally over the helmet of Gardner. That's a great matchup inside if you want to take the temperature of this game. Watch DeMille and Gardner up inside.
Gardner trying to fill the shoes of Ben Garland, who was such a factor last year for the Falcons. Dobbs floats this one. Incomplete, looking for Greg Jones. Dobbs over 200 yards passing against Louisiana Tech 2 weeks ago. Remember, Navy comes into this one off of a bye week.
And Dobbs just trying to run a go route to Greg Jones on Anthony Wright. And Anthony Wright's literally a prototypical shutdown corner. That's not a very good matchup if you're Navy.
Our friends at the Elias Sports Bureau tell us Dobbs has scored 30 of Navy's last 59 touchdowns. He hands it off. Dobbs is usually the finisher for Coach Niumatalolo. Tough kid, too. Remember last year he played with that broken kneecap. Going for it on 4th and 4. Check with me. Dobbs changing the play. Just trying to force Navy or Air Force offside. Kelly, what's the secret maybe with that hard count, trying to make the other team jump?
Well, I think when you're playing a disciplined team like both of these teams are, there really isn't a secret, but I think the quarterback just uses a different count trying to get someone on the defensive side to move.
Folks in the promotions department next Saturday on the Mountain. Listen up. Mountain West football kicking off noon. Colorado State battles Air Force right here in Colorado Springs. And then at 4, showdown in Provo. BYU playing host to San Diego State. Rams, Falcons, Aztecs, Cougars. Saturday at noon in high definition only on the Mountain, where the West is won.
You know, Joe, this field goal attempt by Joe Buckley, or at least we think it's going to be a field goal attempt, is, I mean, we talked about these games. The last 7 have been decided by 5.7 points being the difference. So obviously every kick is important. Buckley doesn't look like he has a ton of confidence after shanking that first one.
This time from 34, straight down the middle. Buckley right down the chute. His second on the day. He made 3 last year in this matchup. 7-6 Falcons. We return to Colorado Springs in a moment.
Class of 1958 from Portland, Oregon. Tech Harkin, class of 1967 from Portland, Oregon. Go Navy! Beat Air Force! Go Navy! Beat Air Force! Go Navy! Beat Air Force!
Those gentlemen did that in one take, Kelly. Turning out in full force to support both Navy and Air Force here at Falcon Stadium, the beautiful home of the Air Force Academy Falcons. John Teague set to kick it off after Joe Buckley drilled one from 32, carving into Air Force's lead. Lone touchdown today, a 50-yard run from Air Force quarterback Tim Jefferson. Wind at his back. Teague booms this one, and that's been a broken record through the end zone in that direction. Lindsey Soto chatting with one of the Navy midshipmen's dads.
Yeah, you were talking about Shane Bothell, how his father spent just under 25 years in the Air Force. You were wondering whether or not he might feel torn today. I'm guessing that we found our answer. Terry Bothell, how did this come to be?
He was recruited by Buddy Green and Coach Paul Johnson his senior year in high school, and this is what he selected. I asked him the morning he signed. I said, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" He goes, "Absolutely." So here we are. My loyalty is to the Air Force, but for the 5 years he's here, my allegiance is to the Navy.
And then when he's done, you go back to giving him a hard time about the Navy.
Oh, absolutely. We always tell him, if you want the job done right, call the Air Force.
He told me yesterday that your friends still give him a hard time, so he feels a lot of pressure from home to win today, or else he's going to have to hear it.
Absolutely. It's going to be a real long Christmas vacation for him if they don't come home with a victory today.
And I understand that you also have crossed sides, too.
Absolutely.
A little bit.
Absolutely.
I mean, professionally.
Yes. I'm a defense contractor for the Navy, working for the Navy down at the Philadelphia Navy Yard, working with training analysis and development for the Carter Rock Division.
Military, through and through. It doesn't matter which branch. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Guys.
Terry and Lindsey, we appreciate it. And Terry's son Shane on the sideline here as the Navy's first team defense is in there. Bothell's on the sideline, and Jabari Tawani just walked off as well, a bit nicked.
And Shane Bothell, it may be cramps. I think at least twice we've seen him kind of hobble off the field after a play.
Arzika in motion. They put it in the capable hands of the fullback Jared Two. Hallberger making the stop. Had a crunching hit against Louisiana Tech. Big play, forced a fumble. Hallberger did in that win in Ruston. Navy was not sharp in the opening half of that game. They came on with a vengeance in the last 30 minutes. 3rd and 2 here. Jefferson on the pitch. Asher Clark dancing with it. Out near the 35-yard line, first down Falcons. Tyler Simmons, Navy's best linebacker, no doubt, says defensive coordinator Buddy Green, made the stop.
And Shane Bothell, we talked about that nose tackle position, and Chase Burge has been in there as well. But Tyler Simmons from that middle linebacking position also has to stay home. He has fullback duty in that run game against Air Force.
They bring Halderman in motion. They run Clark straight ahead, and he's wrestled around and down.
Knocked down by Jabari Tuani.
Jabari Tuani. They said his high school highlight tape was incredible, Kelly.
I bet it was. He's a very nice player. I think certainly the best defensive lineman that Navy has, the most productive. Great use of his hands, and he's only 6'1", so his pad level, Joe, is kind of built in to the position he plays.
10 tackles last year against Air Force, a career high. Option pitch to Clark, and Clark is tracked down well. Aaron McCauley doing the honors. That's his 5th stop from the striker spot.
We saw McCauley, Joe, got hurt early in this game. He's back, and he's instrumental at that outside linebacking position because Air Force likes to get to the edge. I think they have an advantage out there in the edge, but McCauley's making a nice afternoon today. Nice plays on the outside.
3rd down and long. With time, Jefferson throws a strike. Demarath, the tight end, has it inside of Navy territory. Kevin Edwards will get credit for the tackle. Demarath, as the season goes along after that pickup of 19, the cadets have been cheering him on aplenty.
And Demarath, the tight end, but they very seldom put him in a traditional tight end position. They're generally detached, but he's done a nice job of filling that void over the middle of that cover 3 by Navy.
Makes it tough for him to block out in space. Fullback 2 for a gain of 1. Jared 2 trying to wear Navy down as we reach the 7-minute mark of the 3rd quarter.
And Joe, that's going to be interesting to keep your eye on because both Navy and Air Force wear teams out because of the style of play, but when playing each other, who is going to wear out first? That's certainly going to be important.
Asher Clark hits the acceleration button, and Clark revs it up inside the Navy 25. So dangerous. Falcons' 2nd leading rusher a season ago.
And just coming right down Broadway, Jared Marks, a nose guard for Navy, gets pushed out of the way, and that's exactly where Air Force wanted to run the football.
Jefferson on the pitch for Halderman, and Halderman is turned back to the interior. Once again, McCauley was close by. Devon Richardson also turning it back. He'll turn 21, Richardson will, in 5 days.
The defense for Navy up front is doing a better job of staying on their feet. That's why you see so many Navy defenders, Joe, getting to the edge more quickly than they did in the first half, doing a better job of maintaining their feet.
Richardson, born in Germany. His mom and dad, Pamela and Amos, were in the Army at the time. 2nd and 8. 2 protecting the football.
The ball carrier for Air Force, brought down by Max Blue.
Max Blue making the tackle. He wants to be a Marine after graduating from the Naval Academy. Two, who has not been tackled for a loss all year this year. You look at the 3rd down conversion story. Clark tripped up. Brought down shy of 1st down yardage. And a 4th down for the Falcons, who are prone to go for it a time or 2.
The last time they were in a short yardage situation, they didn't go with 2 down the middle. They actually tried to get to the edge.
Wasting no time to the line of scrimmage. Jefferson checking with the sideline on 4th and 2. Trying to lengthen the lead for the Falcons. 2. Stacked up on the inside. It was Yarbrough who hit him first. We'll wait for the official word.
I think the extra effort is going to give it to him. I think the official was running in from the sideline initially and going to mark the spot, didn't have it. The second effort, I think, got 2 over the marker.
Officials today from the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Watch right here. I don't think 2 has it when that momentum is stopped, but right here he gets an extra little effort, and I think that's what's going to give him on this play.
No, no, Kelly, they're short by a couple of inches. And it was Yarbrough, the man who plays with the 100-mile-an-hour motor, who fires things up for Ken Niumatalolo and the midshipmen. You know, we are surrounded by so many future leaders, and they say Yarbrough is a leader among those standing at the forefront. He made the big play there defensively.
Yeah, and he's their high motor guy, and he runs well. And they talk about how many effort plays he makes. Well, that was an effort play right there to keep 2 from getting that first down.
Falcons, who are 3-1, Navy at 2-1. Air Force, to this point in the season, has been ultra effective in the second half of games. 7-3 at the break for Air Force.
I think this might be a reviewable situation. You can review the spot, and I think that might be what Troy Calhoun is electing to do.
Air Force is challenging the ruling on the field. This is officials' timeout.
And that brings a roar of approval from those pulling for Air Force today here at Falcon Stadium.
I actually didn't think the official coming from the far side of the field made a good spot initially.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Air Force Academy.
He was going to mark it where the momentum stopped right there, the forward progress with 2, and then in the end 2 lunged forward. And I don't know that that official ended up seeing that extra little movement forward by Jared 2 at the end.
Kept tiptoeing around after contact. Have another look. Yarbrough and McCauley were the first men to greet him, but 2, undaunted, kept his feet moving. They needed the better part of 2 yards to convert on 4th down. Something they've done before today, 8 out of 9 times successfully.
Yeah. And Jared 2 is not a prototypical fullback type guy. He's less than 225 pounds, somewhere around 217. So it's not about the push, but it's about being elusive and the extra effort that got close to the first down and maybe picked it up on that play.
We've spent a good chunk of the day sharing the color and the pageantry.
The ruling on the field stands. First down.
Thank you, referee Cherry. It's going to be Navy football. All the color, all the pageantry for these service academies in these showdowns, but then it comes down to who wants it more, who has that greater push on 4th and short.
You're right, and who wants it more? It would be hard to distinguish between the 2 teams, but who makes that special play here in the rest of this game is going to determine who wins that Commander-in-Chief's trophy.
Naval Academy has claimed that 7 years in succession. They brought that 170-pound plus trophy from Bancroft Hall into the locker room in Annapolis this week to remind the mids, hey, you don't want to relinquish this.
Oh, heavy senior class that gives that up after 7 times in a row. That's a lot of pressure.
Ricky Dobbs had a fellow midshipman, a Colorado native, drop by his room inside of Bancroft Hall and say, you know, I'm not going all the way back to Colorado to see you guys lose this thing. As the mids try to build a comeback behind their highly productive quarterback.
And Joe, that is the chess match right now that will be going on. Air Force doesn't want Ricky Dobbs to be the ball carrier, so they're figuring out ways to try to take the ball, give him a read that takes it out of his hands. But Ricky Dobbs is a guy that wants to keep that football and put the game on his back.
Gamesmanship, cat and mouse game, 2nd and 3. Dobbs still with it, throws the stiff arm out, but he's wrapped up and brought down by Patrick Hennessy. Boy, was Hennessy ever good when we were last here on Versus against BYU.
And these are the type of plays that Ricky Dobbs has to make sure that he keeps really true to his reads and focused on his reads, because he needs to make sure that if the fullback is supposed to get the ball, give it to him. Don't put your offense in a negative play situation.
Both teams have been busy on 3rd down. As the signals get wigwagged in from the sideline, Dobbs translates for his mids. 3rd and 7. Timeout called for. We'll need to step away. Getting late in the 3rd quarter with the Falcons still in charge by 1. College football on Versus presented by Windows 7. Air Force clinging to a 1-point advantage over their friends from Annapolis, Maryland, the Navy midshipmen. This is 3rd down and long for Ricky Dobbs. Reverse pivot into the option, calls his own number, he's tripped up. Well done defensively, Zach Payne. Zach Payne up to 6 tackles on the day.
Yeah, Payne's doing a nice job, and I think Air Force collectively did a nice job of anticipating that Ricky Dobbs is going to keep the ball in his hands in this situation to make a play, either turn it up. So what you give him is a read where he has to turn it up, not pitch the ball, and then there is defenders coming from the interior of that Air Force defense.
Delahook to punt for Navy. Rembert and Wright standing deep for the Falcons. From the 27, the dangerous Reggie Rembert squirts loose. There's a flag down as Rembert crosses the Falcon 40 after a 45-yard boot. You see the call, now you'll hear it.
Another block in the back on the return. Number 14, 10 yards, first down.
7-6, Falcons have the advantage. We'll continue with more in the third quarter, right after these words from Colorado Springs.
Other hammers can only dream of going.
And I'm standing here with the superintendent of the Air Force Academy, Lieutenant General Michael Gould, who played football here at the Academy, DB, also coached as a graduate assistant coach. His call sign is coach, even carried the football for the first President Bush. So clearly football a big part of your life. What's your assessment of this game so far?
Well, it's a great football game. We got two wonderful teams out there going at it, and what's really neat is just the atmosphere here and the opportunity to build leaders of character, and that's what we're all about. And both teams were proud of the players and what they'll go on to do when they graduate from the respective academies.
What is your experience as a football player here at the Academy? How has that affected your ability to be the superintendent and relate to these gentlemen?
Well, it's kind of like you today. There's a lot of people watching what you're doing. There's pressure on, and to be able to perform under pressure on the field of friendly strife makes a big difference in your development as a leader, and that's why we do this. All our athletic programs are to build leadership traits and sportsmanship and all that. It's just great fun on top of that.
Lieutenant General, thank you for your time.
You're sure welcome. Thank you.
Joe Kelly.
General and Lindsay, we do appreciate that after the penalty against the Air Force to back them up. The holding infraction. Jefferson for Asher Clark, and he's hammered in the backfield. It is nice to chat with these players, their coaches, and realize just how much poise, how much pride, how much humility they possess, qualities of which the general was just speaking.
Yeah, both coaches have talked about how it's the demands of the military academy life, academics and otherwise, but then you're playing FBS football on top of that, and Air Force compounds it with playing in a pretty competitive conference. So all of those things, yeah, it's about pressure, it's about challenges for sure.
Jefferson to throw. Good catch over the middle. Again, the tight end Chaz Demarath playing a game of catch with Tim Jefferson.
Well, Navy is a zone team. They play kind of a three-deep zone. And so the big-body, 6'2", 220-pound tight end has found his place kind of behind that first level of defenders in the void in that zone. And Jefferson has the ability to put it on a receiver.
Falcons are moving it and going to the air again. Look out, McCauley off the outside with a sack. Aaron McCauley. Smallest guy on the defense, making a big impact here.
Coming off the edge right there in your living room. McCauley, the outside linebacker, has been banged up in this game, but he's the guy that's been the speed guy, stopping the option on the edge, and then their pressure guy off the edge right there in that passing situation.
First sack of the day either way as the Falcons will go back to the ground. 7-6, Air Force has the lead. Back to College Football Central. Here's Kevin Frazier.
Foster's game break. Michigan has won 16 straight over Indiana. Hoosiers trying to change that. Darius Willis, 22 yards off tackle. It's 14-14. And by the way, an update on Darnell Robinson, 105 yards rushing. He has a passing and rushing TD, Joe.
Yeah, Denard's pretty good at that, leading the nation in rushing. The Wolverines with that stranglehold against Indiana through the years. This will be a 3rd down and 9 as we continue our ball game in Colorado Springs. Tim Jefferson wants to talk it over. Taking the timeout with just 1:16 to go in the third. Falcons midshipmen a season ago, Kelly, in Annapolis. It was another nail-biter. It required overtime.
It really did, and Ricky Dobbs getting it done like we've seen here today a couple of times on runs, throwing the football. The big interception by Wright on that play, and then the big field goal in overtime. But yeah, even though Navy has won 7 of the Commander-in-Chief trophies in a row, they've been hard-fought, close games. That one going to Navy in OT.
Buckley made his in the extra session. Soderberg was wide left, and as a result, these two teams continue to add to their series lore. The last 7 decided by less than 6 points. Coach Calhoun yesterday telling us in our meetings, these games just have an extra vibe, an extra zing, some more flavor to them than most.
Yeah, and he said, you know, is it just a typical game, typical approach? And he said, absolutely not. You can't do that. That would be lying to the kids, and they understand that. The significance of this game is obviously very important.
Air Force looking for a 3rd down conversion. That ball batted down, knocked away by Chase Burge, who gets the congratulations. Burge, another player who suffered an injury last year in that game in Annapolis. It cost him a couple of games activity.
And that's actually where Shane Bothell got his play, is because Burge got hurt, and Burge doing a nice job not getting a rush on the quarterback, but just make eye contact, see where he's throwing the football, and then get your hands up. That's the best Burge can do. Big play right there by Burge.
Myers back deep, waiting for the punt from Bartholomew into the wind. This one turns over nicely. Myers from the 24. Sidesteps 1. Picks up a block. Shakes loose and then is brought down to the 26, where the midshipmen will take over in the final stages of quarter number 3. Friends, it's NHL Face-Off 2010. The puck drops on a new season Thursday, 6:30 Eastern. Keystone State rivalry renewed. It's the Flyers clashing with the Penguins as the Penguins play in their brand new playpen. 10 Eastern, defending Stanley Cup champs. The Chicago Blackhawks squaring off against the Avalanche. Hockey lives on Versus. That means I got to get right back to Colorado, don't I?
It's that time of the year, Joseph. That time of the year.
Back and forth, but we love it. 1st and 10 and a 7-6 nail-biter. Dobbs keeps. Little quarterback duck across the 30.
I think this is a time in the game where Ricky Dobbs really has to make sure the plays come within the scheme. Sometimes he has a tendency to try to make too much happen, get himself into trouble, make bad decisions, and right now he just has to make sure he stays focused on the scheme.
I thought it was interesting to hear the coaches say, you know what, we've beaten the offense into him. Here he comes, looking to throw off the play action. On target to midfield. 1st down, midshipman. Big play man Greg Jones on the receiving end.
A good job by Navy mixing it up in what would be typically a run situation. They drop back and throw it, and you can see the 2 different levels, and Greg Jones is that guy running the crossing route over the top. Does a nice job of getting open, and then Dobbs puts it on it.
Kelly, yourself a former NFL quarterback, you can appreciate the throwing motions for these 2 quarterbacks.
Very efficient.
Dobbs tracked down and dropped.
Ricky Dobbs with the football, brought
Jordan
down by
Waiwaioli was close by. 3 quarters complete in Colorado Springs. Air Force 7-6 leaders as we begin the quest for the Commander-in-Chief's trophy on a gorgeous day at Falcon Stadium. All the heavy hitting continues with 15 minutes to go in regulation next on Versus. In the Falcon student section.
Yeah, Joe, these 2 schools have an exchange program. There are 11 midshipmen that are studying at Air Force. So far this semester, 13 cadets that are studying at Navy. Now, for this game, they are exchanged back like prisoners of war and allowed to sit with their respective teams for this particular game. So I have found 2 cadets that have been studying at Navy so far, Luke Gillis and Joel Noble. Guys, after a few months of hanging out with just midshipmen, what's it like to be back surrounded by cadets?
It's great to be back here and enjoy the football game with everyone.
Started the game with some messages taped on your back. What did they say?
It said, "Give up the ship."
What is the biggest difference between a midshipman and a cadet now that you've had experience hanging
I would say one of the biggest differences is, well, it's really tough to say. I mean, that's the intelligence of the cadets, I would say. I would say the work ethic, probably. Work ethic.
You guys realize you have to go back to Navy now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You might want to be careful.
Yeah, I'll be careful, ma'am. I think we're ready to go, ma'am.
They're ready to go, Joe. Hey, by the way, just to discuss this rivalry a little bit more, I'm not kidding you. I saw someone in Navy dress whites running down the corridor with an Air Force flag. Joe?
Oh, pressure's on. 3rd down and long for Dobbs. Heave-ho, and away you go down the sideline, just out of reach of a diving Greg Jones. Ricky Dobbs had one of those Air Force transfer students approach him during the week in Annapolis and give him the needle all day.
Is that right?
Your reign is about to end.
Yeah, I can imagine. How did he get access? How did he get access to Ricky Dobbs during this week?
Anthony Wright back deep for Air Force. Delahook, the senior from Pasadena, California. Blocked! Over the top, Jamil Cooks. Picked up on the run, and Air Force in business. A short field awaits them, and the cadets love the hustle. Anthony Wooding picks up the block punt. Jamil Cooks came streaking through with those long arms.
We talked about big plays making a difference and special teams. Well, here you get it in the same on one big play right here. The block punt, just selling out, coming over the top. Incredible effort. And you're looking for a play to turn the tide or tilt the field in a game like this, Joe. There it is right there.
Jamil Cooks, one of 8 children, likes to play the acoustic guitar. Reserve linebacker and a special teams demon, obviously, for Air Force. Critical juncture of this game now. It's Jared 2. Touched first there by Hauberger and then gang tackled to the interior of the Navy D.
Now let's keep in mind, it's not about big plays or turnovers. It's about points off of turnovers. Air Force has to find a way to cash this one in. You can see right there, almost got one earlier. It came up just a little bit short, but a big play on that last play, that block punt.
How about the athleticism there? Jefferson on the option, the pitch. Halderman tripped down as he nears the Navy 5. Kyle Halderman getting him much more involved as this season progresses. Air Force looking for its 4th win in 5 tries in the fall of 2010. Anthony Wooding Jr. over on the bench accepting the congratulations. He was the man who recovered the block punt. 1st and goal, Air Force. They work from the eye. First back through. No signal yet from the line judge, going to mark him short. Big Jared 2. Trying to culminate this short drive.
2nd down and 1.
Remember, a couple of years ago here, it was Navy with a couple of punt blocks to turn things in their favor. Jefferson on the quarterback keep. Jefferson launching towards the end zone. Touchdown! His 2nd of the day.
The big play coming off the block punt, but you have to finish it, Joe. You have to get points off of big turnovers, and Jefferson does a nice job getting up behind that offensive line. Hester and Wallerstein that are doing a nice job of moving guys off the ball for Navy.
Soderberg, one of 3 different Mountain West Conference kickers on the Groza Award watch list, drills the extra point. Ross Evans at TCU, Joe Phillips at Utah, the others. Cadets have to do some more push-ups. It's 14-6 Falcons here in the 4th.
College Football on Versus is brought to you by Windows 7 and by Lowe's. For all your home improvement needs, Lowe's, let's build something together.
Changes?
Just a little bit faster this time. That's it. Chad, you're good.
Okay.
Stay away from Michael. Get in there. Actually, check that out. Chad, you all right?
Yeah, no problem.
Jimmy?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Is it stable?
The box catch it?
Yeah, the lift one out.
Seriously heavy-duty Cobalt 41-inch tool chest.
Look at that. Definitely on the box. Chad, can I have a screwdriver, please?
Well, everything looks good. We've got your car in stock. Let's just check out your credit score and we'll work out your financing.
All right, sounds good.
Did you know everyone has 3 credit scores? And just one bad score could really hurt you.
Whoa! That's going to be a problem.
What do you mean? Your credit score could be affected by inaccuracies, outdated information, or even identity theft. Now tracking your score is easy at freescore.com. Unlike other services that only provide one score, freescore.com lets you see all 3 credit scores for free. And that's important because a single bad score could cause you to be denied a loan, pay higher interest rates, and spend more for the things you want. So get all 3 scores for free at freescore.com. Plus, you'll get unlimited access to your complete credit profile, 24/7 credit alerts, and the quickest way to spot inaccuracies at all 3 credit bureaus.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You're welcome. One place, 3 scores. Get your scores now at freescore.com.
Free score! Freescore.com.
The boys are working on their pecs. Push-ups. The order of the day after each Falcon point. 14 of them now on the board in a quarter in which they have not surrendered a single point in their first 4 games. Teach back deep. Soderberg nails this one. Returnable. Teach pounding his way across the 30. Falcons taking charge. Take a look at how they drove down the field. This Toyota drive summary after the big special teams play.
Jamil Cooks does a nice job of getting over the top, selling out his 6'4" frame, and then Jefferson has the easy part, just mushing it up inside, and technically not a turnover, but certainly has the effect in the momentum of this game has certainly switched to Air Force right now.
It was by far the best starting position that Air Force had on any of its drives today, and they convert. Dobbs looking to lead the comeback now. Hit as he throws. Out of the hands, incomplete of a diving Greg Jones.
Pass from Ricky Dobbs.
Rick Jones running a comeback route, and actually, Joe just kind of loses his footing. Does a nice job of running the corner off, but didn't come out of his break very well.
Navy, they've won a record 15 straight against the service academies. Last time they lost one of those was here in 2002. They were pounded by the Falcons that day. They've beaten Army 8 straight. They've got some catching up to do now. Dobbs tracked down, flattened, ball came free. Coming out of there was Patrick Hennessy with it. Do the officials agree? Not quite.
Navy with Dobbs trying to get outside immediately on the outside option, but look how many guys are around that football for Air Force, and not many on the ground, and that's the key. If the defensive line and linebackers can keep their feet against this scheme, they can skate down the line and make a play.
Dobbs was fumble prone against Maryland in the season opener for Navy. He came in as a Heisman Award hopeful. Dobbs sets his feet and fires a low throw that is caught. Doug Furman, listen up, those of you on Versus, wants to be a pro bull rider after the military. PBR.
Yeah, there you go. Gonna have him on Versus later, and Furman runs a hook route, does a nice job of just setting in that void in the zone, and Dobbs does a nice job of getting him the football.
13 yards on the completion, it's 1st and 10. Run the fullback straight ahead. The first mission of that triple option, get a productive day from your fullback.
And I think Air Force has done a better job of doing that today than the Navy has, and I think that's why you've seen a little bit more offensive yardage and efficiency out of that Air Force side.
Ricky Dobbs has scored a rushing touchdown in all 16 of his career starts. He's been held off the board today. Teach takes this one across midfield. Alexander Teach, a 22-year-old junior from Conroe, Texas. These two schools, Kelly, coaches were saying they recruit about 20 to 25% of the same kids who consider more than one of the academies when they're pondering their college careers. The toss to Stuchel, he's going nowhere. Reggie Rembert, a big playmaker from the secondary, coming up from the corner.
Wow, you won't see a better play out of a corner than this against the run game. Watch Rembert. Remember, he has to first think about play-action passing game, but Rembert blows up the block, crawls a couple of yards, and ends up making the play in the backfield. What a big play by Rembert.
Reggie Rembert, just one of those guys we were talking about. He and Wyatt Middleton actually took recruiting trips together to Air Force and to Navy, as the Falcons continue to be a tough nut to crack in the fourth quarter in terms of points surrendered. On the run, nice catch by Wright as he sails out of bounds. 14-6, Falcons have the lead. Less than 10 to go here at home for Air Force.
By the game.
Wow, Kevin, Wolverines have won 16 straight against Indiana. Denard Robinson in the process for the Wolverines, definitely establishing himself as a Heisman Trophy candidate. Good one in the Big Ten. Tim Jefferson brings the Falcons to the line of scrimmage. Air Force in the blue today. The Thunderbird tribute uniforms and helmets. Jefferson rattled there. Tyler Simmons with a hit. Our Buffalo Wild Wings game reset plays out like this with under 10 to go in the fourth.
And Dobbs, once again, is going to have to be that playmaker if Navy's going to come back. You can see what he's done today. Jefferson, I've really liked his decision-making. Just like the play we just watched, he's been efficient in the passing game, but a very decisive decision-maker here today.
Game management, clock management becomes more and more important as we move along here in the fourth quarter. Jefferson trusting his fullback dive there, brings up a third, and let's call it 4.
Knocked down by Max Blue. 3rd and 4.
Coach Calhoun trying to get off the schneid here. Back at his alma mater, at least against Navy. He's never beaten them in 3 previous tries. And Jefferson. Fullback straight ahead. And a first down for Nathan Walker. Walker, terrific high school football player at Colorado Springs Christian. He led the state in rushing.
And it all starts up inside, and once again, the establishing of the fullback, Walker doing a nice job. The offensive line come off as if the fullback is going to get the ball every play. So they're blocking it, not knowing whether, in this case, Nathan Walker has the ball or not, but they're blocking as if he does. They did a great job on that play.
10-yard gain, and time continues to tick. Clark is the motion man. Walker upended. They hit him quickly in the backfield. A gain of 1. Burge was the first guy in there. 3rd year as a reserve for Chase out of Rushville, Ohio.
2nd and 9.
And this tends to be the money down when a triple option type offense gets in 2nd and long or 3rd and long. They have to have a productive play to get back ahead of the down and distance right here. So does Air Force elect to allow Tim Jefferson to do something with the football in the air?
Special welcome to all the men and women around the world. Part of the armed forces watching the efforts today. Navy and Air Force squaring off. 2nd and 9 for the Falcons. The pitch for Asher Clark. What an active day it has been for Max Blue, who's in double figures in terms of tackles today. Give him 14.
Wow.
Having trouble with his chin strap, though.
Yeah, and from the outside, or excuse me, the inside linebacking position, does a nice job of avoiding the inside traffic and then squaring up and making a hit on Clark. Yeah, his bucket goes flying, but he was there to make a play.
Big down here, 3rd down for the Falcons. Conservative call, and the midshipmen stiffen at just the right moment. Tyler Simmons, young man who had the injured spleen in a snow skiing accident, snowboarding accident back in February. Had to sit out a lot of spring ball, no spring ball for him. Was laying low for like a month and a half, and that was tough for him.
Barefoot's going to go ahead and obviously punt this ball away, but you're right. I thought that last play was a little conservative, and it was out of the shotgun, kind of the quarterback read, and it almost looked like it was just a design give, and Tim Jefferson not having the option to take it outside.
Myers waiting for the boot from Bartholomew. It's over his head. It has a little English on it, and it skips to the goal line. The call from the officials, touchback. Spoiling the applause in the stands. It was an outstanding effort, and it was oh so close. But it's 1st and 10 Navy from the midshipman 20 when we get you back. This is College Football on Versus, presented by Windows 7.
Joined by Roland Williams and Glenn Parker, we will break down what is shaping up to be a very wild Saturday, and we'll also have action from all the Service Academy matchups, plus scores from around the nation. It's all coming up in just moments. Back to you, Joe.
Come on, Kevin. That's RolandMakeAtackle.com, Williams, at the studio with you and Glenn Parker. They did review that near touchback, and now Bird is off to the races for the midshipmen. They did not overturn it. It was quite an effort by Jordan Waiwaiole and Brian Lindsay, but after review, 1st and 10 for the midshipmen from their 20, and then number 20 gets into the act.
Navy getting outside, which they haven't been able to do in the second half a whole lot. Air Force's defense has done a nice job of shutting down the fullback and then skating to the outside. One of the only times this half that Bird has gotten loose.
5:40 to go in the fourth. It is Murray straight ahead. The Falcons have not surrendered a point in the fourth quarter this year. They have not given Ken Niumatalolo's team 1 point today, in fact. A pair of field goals for Navy's Joe Buckley from 25 and 32. And that's it. 2nd down and 7. Dobbs looking for a bunch. Shakes loose. Throws the head fake. Throws the stiff arm out. Ricky Dobbs inside the Air Force 40. Lindsay helping out on the tackle. Big gainer for Dobbs, a 1st down for the mids.
And certainly a threat. The play action pass, nothing is downfield, but remember who the best ball carrier on Navy is Dobbs right there, trying to get loose in that secondary, but it's somewhat like Michael Vick. Once he has nothing downfield, he can make a play with his feet.
16 yards on the carry for Dobbs. Audible at the line of scrimmage. They want the fullback Teach. Every time he touches it, he or Vince Murray, there's a crunch put on.
And that was with Jordan Waiwaiole just there to meet the fullback. And one of those inside linebackers for Air Force has the fullback on every play, whether it's Amac or Waiwaiole. And that time it was Waiwaiole head-to-head with the big fullback.
Waiwaiole almost a dozen tackles today. 2nd and 8 now for the midshipmen. In comeback mode. Dobbs will roll. And he's sacked in the backfield. Ricky Dobbs dropped by Jordan Waiwaiole. They thought he was a little tentative against Oklahoma. He's gotten back in business today. With a flag down, the officials from the ACC, led by referee Ron Cherry, with this explanation. Chop block.
That's what it looks like he's beginning to signal right there, which means that offensive lineman is engaged with the defensive player, and a second offensive player comes in and hits him long.
Illegal block, 20 offense. Penalty is 5.
All of those slot backs for Navy have to be skilled blockers on the perimeter.
And there is so much blocking below the waist. Number 20 is Bird coming off to the right side. And yeah, the offensive lineman is engaged, and then Bird comes low at the top of the screen there.
Third down and a whole bunch now for Dobbs. They try the draw. Everything got fouled up there in the backfield on the exchange. Falcons think they have the fumble. Jeff Battipaglia, the left tackle for Navy, hovering around the football. You may see his dad, Joseph, from time to time on CNBC. He's a market strategist.
And the sprint draw to G.G. Green, trying to get your speed guy the football, and wasn't a very good exchange, to say the least. And actually, Navy was very fortunate to get that ball back.
Punting chores once again for Kyle Delahook.
Who executes the best down the stretch? That's what we're seeing right now. And what we've seen thus far, it's Air Force.
There was a blocked punt here in the second half that gave the Falcons a ton of momentum. Wright signals for the fair catch after a 33-yard boot. Folks, let's have a peek. You know, we're still almost a couple of weeks away from our first BCS poll. And have a look at the biggest gainers and losers in the AP poll of late.
Stanford, Auburn, and Nevada all jumped as opposed to last week. Nevada penetrating that top 5 in the first time in forever. Texas and South Carolina just slid into oblivion. Stanford has another great opportunity tonight against Oregon.
Lowe's building towards the BCS. Oklahoma and Texas today in the Red River rivalry. The Longhorns have won 4 of the last 5 prior to today. Coming off that bad loss to UCLA, Mac Brown's worst at home in his 13 years in Austin. Time ticking, 2:45 to go in the fourth. These two teams spend so much time on the ground, Kelly, that the clock tends to run.
Yeah, and remember, Navy used up 2 timeouts earlier in this half, so they're down to 1. They can't stop it a whole lot if Air Force can possess it.
Mids have won 7 straight Commander-in-Chief trophies. It's a Service Academy record. Navy plays Army December 11th in Philadelphia. Air Force is at Army November 6th. It's a round robin. If it's tied, the team that possesses the Commander-in-Chief's trophy gets to keep it. But Air Force trying to get a leg up today. Jared, too, ultra careful now to put both hands around that football. Craftsman post-game show to follow us from College Football Central. Kevin Rowland and Glenn standing by. Analysis of our game. All the highlights from around the nation. Maybe some chit-chat about Florida and Alabama. One of the big games on the nighttime slate.
And if you're talking about clock management right now for Air Force, you do not want this ball snapped until that play clock is under 5 seconds, and that's what Tim Jefferson needs to keep an eye on right here.
Falcon defense has been terrific in the second half. Navy forced to punt on its last 4 possessions. Halderman in motion. Falcons trying to run out the clock. It's Asher Clark straight ahead. Not much there.
And Navy's going to burn their last timeout. A good use of the timeout. They only had 1 left, but they'll get the ball back with 1:20 left.
Your Lee Jeans quality play of the game, courtesy of Jamil Cooks.
He needed about all 6'4" and 205 pounds of him. What sailing, sold out for his team. And what a big play. Maybe the play of the game, certainly our play of the game. What a big play that was, Joe.
Coaches talk about him being a young pup with a bright future, a hitter, a guy who'll smack you in the mouth. Well, that block punt served like a right cross to Navy.
We need to get him to the mess hall a little bit. 6'4", 205. He needs to put some weight on if he's going to play that outside linebacking position.
So now the midshipmen need a big special teams play. 80 seconds left in regulation. They are a touchdown and a 2-point conversion behind Air Force. Bartholomew does get it away with the wind at his back. A knuckler, taken at the 22 by Myers. Sprints towards the far sideline. Oh! That is a face mask and a flagrant one. And we hope that Myers is A-OK after that. A 6-yard punt. And Myers stays down.
You can see the play right there at the end. It's up on the helmet and on the face mask. Just an aggressive play by Jordan Waiwaiole, and we've seen him make those plays. He's been all over the place, but just gets his hand in the wrong place, and we hope Meyer is all right. But that ball is going to come out to, it's going to be pressing in on the 50-yard line here to start this drive with 1:09 left.
Personal foul. Face mask. Number 32 on the kicking team. 15 yards. Automatic first down.
Gary Myers' sister Ashley will graduate from Air Force Academy in the spring. Her brother, A.O.K. on the sideline after that scary face mask.
Wow.
How's that for neck muscles?
Yeah, that was not pretty.
My trapezius are bothering me. 1st and 10 for Ricky Dobbs, trying to lead the comeback. 14-6 Falcons, who've lost 7 straight to the mids. Dobbs steps away, hoists this one downfield, just out of reach. Looking for Greg Jones. It was Brian Lindsay running with him.
We talked about that before, that Greg Jones is their go-to guy in the passing game. When they need a big play in the air, it's typically number 84 that gets the call. But right now on the back end for Air Force, they're very gifted. John Davis and Lindsay at that safety position, but then you have Wright and Rimbert outside.
Navy says the best 2 corners they've seen in the Service Academy in a long time. Dobbs sets his feet, flings this one too high over the head of Greg Jones and the outstretched arm. It brings up a 3rd and 10.
Air Force elected to just play soft coverage. They're only rushing 4. They're dropping 7, playing in zones. And I think that's where Ricky Dobbs' weakness is can he be accurate enough to throw it through a small window? That's all Air Force is going to give him right now.
All-time, Navy has won just 6 of 20 here in Colorado Springs against the Falcons. It's 3rd and 10. Dobbs on a short drop. In the pocket. A diving effort, and what a catch. What a catch by Andre Bird. Spectacular effort by a man who stands just 5'7". 20-yard gain. Midshipmen get to the line of scrimmage quickly. Dobbs over the middle, going through his progressions. Throws this one incomplete, wide of Brandon Turner, the tallest of the Navy wideouts.
Rick Ricketts getting pressure on Dobbs on that play, and Dobbs was under pressure the play before. That great catch by Bird, but Dobbs was doing a great job of standing in the pocket to the last second and delivering that football.
How many times has Ricky Dobbs pulled a rabbit out of his hat for the Navy midshipmen? 14-6 Falcons, just over a half a minute left in regulation. On 2nd and 10, here comes the blitz. Dobbs is well protected. His throw is off target. A diving Matt Aiken. Not able to get that one. Aiken, he'll turn 20 this Tuesday.
Air Force is playing a zone coverage on the back end and not going to give up anything deep, obviously, so Ricky Dobbs is going to have to be accurate with those intermediate routes.
Cadets full throat in the stands. 3rd down in a bunch. Into traffic. It's picked off. Intercepted. Jordan Waiwaiole seals the deal for Air Force. And a triumphant celebration begins.
Jordan Waiwaiole has been absolutely everywhere in this game, particularly in the second half. Does a nice job of just carrying the receiver down the middle of the field right there. And then he just has to read the quarterback because he knows he has help on the other side. Read the quarterback and break on the football.
Instant redemption. It was Waiwaiole who committed the face mask penalty. It's Waiwaiole who clinches this one for Air Force, or so it would appear, on a day when Jordan has had 15 tackles, a sack, and now an interception for Coach Calhoun.
The Secretary of the Air Force has authorized the
And in a zone defense, the defenders could just read the quarterback, the underneath guys, which Waioli was one of them on that play. And that was what Jordan did. He just read Dobbs' eyes, break on the football when he throws it, and then make the play.
Falcons almost ready to put this one to bed against Kenya Matololo and Navy. Coming up, the Craftsman postgame show. Kevin Frazier, Roland Williams, Glenn Parker on board back at College Football Central. They'll break it all down from here in Colorado Springs and share a ton of highlights with you.
And remember, Navy cannot stop the clock at this point.
Falcons are in the victory formation. Tim Jefferson, who's suffered so many defeats both in high school and in college at the hands of Ricky Dobbs, both of them from Georgia, both in high school football and basketball. A day for Jefferson and the Falcons to celebrate as they begin to storm the field. The losing streak to the midshipmen is over in 2 seconds. Air Force prevails 14-6.